Welcome back to my channel. This is Amanda, and I believe I have been shadow banned because of my conservative content, because I'm not getting as many views, and I was hitting a steady stream of subscribers pretty much, and now it's just topped off. So I'm going to do a few articles that have nothing to do with politics. Well, sort of. I don't know. This one kind of does, I think. And I'm just going to see. I am going to do an experiment and kind of sit back and see. Plus, my brain can only take so much crazy, and then after a while, I just start questioning even my own identity. So, okay. This has been on my mind a lot, thinking, I was kidding about the identity. I don't question my identity. I'm pretty solid in my identity. Okay. Thinking through public school, 7 questions for Christian parents. This is Becky Aney, y'all. I tried my best. So she says that she talks to some Christian parents who send their kids to public school. They're good people. She thinks they are trying to seek God and His Word. She does not want to villainize them. But then she says there's 2 types of parents. There's parents who are involved and they go to the school board meetings and all this, PTA meetings, and they stay up to date with what is being taught in the schools. They get to know the teachers. And then there's some parents who don't do all that. So, and I don't know, she's about to make some good points here. So she talks about how a lot of the thought process is, teachers are teaching my kids school subjects. They're just teaching facts. Facts are facts, right? So she's making the argument, okay, but most of these teachers are unbelievers, and I think that's true. Now, a lot of them may identify as Christian, like especially down here in the South, but Christian doesn't really mean anything. I mean, the word Christian, I don't even know how, I don't know. Some people who say they're Christians, they're drinking, which I don't understand that, because the Bible tells you to avoid alcohol. It says to not look at it. It says to not give other people alcohol. It condemns drunkenness, but it also condemns the process of becoming drunk, and it condemns drinking parties. So that would be anywhere where there's alcohol being served. So I understand people justify things in their head, but I don't understand how you say you're a Christian, but you drink alcohol. As many verses that there are about alcohol. And then, there's people who say they're Christians and they'll go to Hooters and weird stuff like that. And everything the Bible talks about with modesty, Jesus says lust is adultery. Well, if you've got women walking around with their knockers hanging out, how is that Christ-like to be there? So, but I'm talking about like true Christians, people who obey the Word of God. That is going to be very rare, because most of your teachers are drinking, they're going to bars, they're doing stuff, I don't know if they're, well, I don't want to say that, but they're going, I was going to say if they're the real young ones, but so let's see. After all, facts are just facts. I'd like to offer a few considerations here. Public school curricula no longer follows even the problematic postmodern agenda that says the truth is whatever you want. The program moving forward is that accepted truth is the opposite of God's word, and believe it or be canceled. Well, that's true. What year was this written? Oh, well, no, I was about to say this year. No, I'm a year off. Last year, so it's pretty recent. Okay, first, it's no longer necessarily true that facts are facts. Not every teacher and not in every school. But as a top-down institution, government education really does have an anti-God agenda, and this has gotten exponentially worse in the last decade and especially the last few years. So the thing that always bothered me was how evolution is taught as fact. Evolution is a theory. And I have written this on threads online before on Facebook, and you will get laughed at. Like, they will laugh, react at your comment, basically say things that come out like you're stupid. It's like they're trying to tell you you're stupid. But the truth is it is a theory. It's called the theory of evolution. But public schools teach it as fact. Second, are facts just facts? In light of biblical truth, even facts are not neutral. Someone chooses which facts are presented. Someone presents those facts a certain way. Someone grades the learned facts and says whether those facts are accepted truth. And someone picked the correct answers. Yeah, because I mean, you can, mark the correct answers about evolution on a test and then write in the margin, this isn't true, I don't agree with this. And I don't know. I don't know if they would still, it seems like I recall someone still getting dinged for that, but I'm not sure. I don't want to say that because I may not be remembering that accurately. Furthermore, academics are more than just facts because education is not mere information accumulation. As I said here, through each academic discipline, children should be learning how to love God and their neighbor, how to be like Christ in thought, word, and deed. Each book read should teach the child about the human condition, each history lesson about the human plight and sovereign hope of living in a Psalm 2 world, each science lesson about the endless wonder of creation. Can an unbeliever really teach these things? And then I know people make the argument, they should be salt and light, but your child is not 18 yet. They're not an adult. That commission was given to adults to spread the gospel. It wasn't given to children. It actually was given to men. So I'm going to think that one through though. It was given to, there's some debate about whether or not a female should baptize because the command to baptize was given to men. So anyways, we parents are the missionaries. Our children are our mission field. Let's not get mixed up about who's supposed to be doing what. That's a good point. Can children be a witness for Christ? Of course, but the scriptures never send children into a battlefield. That is so true. And these kids are learning stuff from their peers in school that, they shouldn't be talking about, thinking about. Salt loses its saltiness by absorbing impurities or being over-immersed in humidity so as to evaporate. Public school is a prime environment for absorbing impurities and being over-immersed in the humid culture of the world. That is so true. Shouldn't we want to train our children to face the real world? Now, I'm going to read this paragraph. Is God with our children if they're Christians to help them face temptation? Of course. But in sending our children to public school, we must know that we're casting them into a myriad of temptations that they could be shielded from in their immaturity and some that they very likely wouldn't ever have to face otherwise. Public school is an intensified battlefield, not the real world. If Christian school or homeschool was a bubble of protection and immersion in Christian values, public school is a bubble of immersion in secular values and intensified temptations. This is very good. This is well written. If your child is attending public school, you may be actively teaching your child to swim against the culture, but realize that you've put him not into the lap pool, but into the ocean with a strong riptide. 1,000 arms of current are trying to pull him under. Or how many unbelieving students are in your child's school? How many unbelieving teachers? That many people are potentially trying to pull your child under. That doesn't mean I'm saying that all those teachers or students are as bad as they could be, but see my point below. At the end of the day, all unbelievers hate God in their hearts and have rejected the truth. What is an unbeliever? Even the most kind-hearted, unbelieving teacher, even one who is politically conservative, has rejected the authority of God, has turned his or her back on the sovereign ruler of the universe and his divine plan for human history. His divine plan for human history. Can that person disciple your child toward Christ-likeness, i.e. educate? So I like this paragraph, and I think I'm going to end with here, but you can... Okay, oh, it's almost done. Can we legitimately delegate our children's education to an institution that does not have God's permission to undertake the task? Oh, wow. That's a good point. Okay, who and what educates at school? Is it just the textbooks and the teacher's lecture material? No. The common practices, liturgies of the students in the school, the character of companions, the talk in the hallways and lunchrooms, school culture. The example of the teachers and other implicit education happens every single day. While certainly parents can prepare their children for these things and shore up their children's faith, children will be educated by the hidden curriculum even without their knowledge or explicit participation. A child would have to be hyper-vigilant to be aware of this enough to combat it, and I contend that especially young children will almost certainly not be aware enough or strong enough to avoid being educated by the hidden curriculum. Let's see. Does the government have the authority to teach teachers or offer a program of education to children? The biblical answer is no. Wow, that's pretty blunt. I've never seen it written that way, but that's a good point, and that's well written. Governments are not given the authority by God to have any part in education. Wow, I never thought of it that way. Parents are given the authority and primary responsibility by God to educate. Churches are given the authority to educate. Fellow believers are given the authority to educate older women, older men, etc., but not governments. God has given governments only two responsibilities: to protect the innocent and reward the good. By involving themselves in education, governments are overstepping their God-given authority. We must then ask ourselves, can we legitimately delegate our children's education to an institution that does not have God's permission to undertake the task? Wow, these are some good points. Is God greater than the public school system? Indeed, He is. But that doesn't mean that it's His moral will that children be discipled for any part of their education by governments and unbelievers. The discipleship of our children isn't a secondary issue. It's a sanctification issue. Our children deserve that we think through these things. Wow. That's very well written. And that was Becky Aniol. I tried my best. Aniol.